Can I start by thanking the 331 constituents in Glasgow East who signed the petition, and I want to commend the Honourable Member for Warrington North, who very eloquently opened the debate for us. I'm also grateful to the hundreds of local people who've emailed and written to me before the debate today, and I'm pleased to be speaking on their behalf in calling for action on public sector pay. And I think it's important that as we take part in this debate, we remember the backdrop against which we're having this, because what we see at the moment is the worst wage growth in 210 years. Public sector workers have seen their spending power reduced because of rising inflation. The average household has lost £7.74 per week due to higher prices for essential shopping items such as bread, milk and cheese. And the Governor of the Bank of England has warned that households have slashed spending as incomes continue to be squeezed by a weak pound, which is almost certainly not helped by the Brexit shambles currently unfolding. We are, of course, witnessing the longest fall in living standards since records began, and inequality under this government, which I know has been very, very silent during the course of this debate, has been exacerbated, and we're now witnessing, in the words of the Resolution Foundation, the biggest increase in inequality since Thatcher. This morning I attended the Joseph Rowntree Foundation's report launch in central London, the State of UK Poverty in 2017, and the report states that 1 in 8 workers now live in poverty. This essentially blows a hole in the argument that work is the best route out of poverty, especially if we're condoning embarrassing levels of poverty pay. The report today said that 47% of working-age adults in the poorest fifth of the population now spend one-third, just think of that, one-third of their income purely on housing costs. The recent budget was a missed opportunity for the Chancellor to end pay restraint for our hard-working public sector workers. The Chancellor should have followed the commitment from the Scottish Government, which will lay out its draft budget next month. And I know that our Finance Secretary, Derek Mackay, has already said that the Scottish Government is lifting the public sector pay cap, even if Westminster. More than happy to give way to
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for giving way, and I agree with him that public sector workers across the UK deserve better than the current policy pursued by the UK Government. However, would he also agree with me that in the interim, devolved governments have a responsibility to do all that they can to mitigate the worst effects of the public sector pay cap and to ensure that our public sector workers, regardless of where they are in the UK, get a fair deal?
I'm very grateful to my friend from Ceredigion for that intervention. I would wholeheartedly agree with him. I very much welcome the engagement that we've seen between the Scottish Government in Edinburgh and our trade unions to end that public sector pay cap. During the course of the September recess, I undertook something which was perhaps a bit unusual for an MP. I did something called In Your Shoes, which is I spent a day every week doing a different job. So pulling pints and calling the bingo at the Tavern Bar in Parkhead, a day with Easter House Citizens Advice Bureau, a day teaching the children at Our Lady of Peace Primary School, a day out with the police officers in Baillieston, and one of the last days that I did was at Easter House Fire Station. And over the course of the day, the guys at Easter House Fire Station were incredibly welcoming. They got me dressed up in all the outfits, doing the drills with them, using the ladders, using the hoses. After that, we went back inside to the fire station, and I was grateful to officers at Easter House Fire Station and the FBU rep Thomas Hanlon for their thoughts and their comments about the challenges that they face. But one of the things I was quite struck by was the bravery of these guys, because when a building's on fire, they run towards it in the same way that we saw with Grenfell Tower. And I think as MPs on £76,000 a year, the reality is that none of us would run into a burning building. But that's the reality of what these guys are doing. And so the government will say, oh, we're all in this together. But the reality is we're not in this together, because we're not running into the building burnings with these firefighters. So I think there's a point here that the least that we can do is give them the pay rise that they deserve. Anything else is just lip service.
Yeah.